What's up, everybody? Welcome into another Big Man on Campus college basketball preview video. We continue our previews with the big one, the Big Ten, another big-time conference, which I'm excited to get into. The Big Ten, always fascinating as we head into the season with the likely number one overall seed, the Michigan State Spartans, a whole host of other teams looking to dethrone Sparty. We'll break it down for you in just a second. Make sure you're checking out all the videos here on my channel. Plenty of great college hoops videos as we get closer and closer to the season. Let's get into the games. Let's get into the teams. Let's talk Big Ten right now. Michigan State, who not only is the best team in this conference, but they're the consensus number one team in the country. And, look, you look down this roster, what is there not to like? You have the best player in the country in Cassius Winston. You have off guard and Josh Langford, who is coming off injury. I know he's starting the season on the injured list as far as I know, but if they can get him healthy, I mean, he's a huge piece. Aaron Henry, I think, is due for a breakout season. Xavier Tillman is as good a big as you'll find. Kyle Ahrens is a sharpshooter off the bench that can really give you a Matt McQuaid type feel. They bring in a kid named Rocket Watts, who's likely to be one of the better freshman players in the country. And if they can get Joey Hauser waiver request granted, I don't think there's any disagreement. This isn't the best team in the country. Look, I don't need to go into every single player to tell you how good they are. They have a real coach that can get the job done. They have a coach that can win at the next level. And there's a lot to like about the Spartans coming into the season. Make sure you keep an eye out for Hauser. If he can play, that gives them a whole another dimension. He's a guy that not only has got good size, but he can come off screens. He's a great shooter, and he plays pretty good defense. For me, it's really Michigan State and everybody else. Are there some teams that are interesting? Yeah, I think Ohio State's interesting with C.J. Walker coming in there. They have some really nice pieces around him. Obviously, you look at the Wesson brothers there as well, and Luther Muhammad and Dwayne Washington. This is a good basketball team, and Chris Holtman's done a nice job. He's put together a pretty nice, experienced team, some young talent as well, and you really need a good kind of mix of that if you want to make a run in the tournament. I would put them at 2. Look, Maryland just isn't cutting it for me anymore. Mark Turgeon is really always the basically the cockbug of this team. I think he's got a really good player up front with Jalen Smith. I would have loved to have Bruno Fernando stick around another year. If Fernando sticks around, I think this is the best team in the Big Ten, really outside of Michigan State. But, Anthony Cowan's a bright spot. They have some other pieces as well. But, look, until Mark Turgeon proves to people that he can actually win at the next level, I have no real reason to think that I want anything to do with Maryland come tournament time. If I had to go with the sleeper in this conference, it would definitely be Michigan. I think Michigan's on a similar trajectory. Look, we know this isn't John Beilein's team, but this is a group that has a pretty good core. Juwan Howard is a passionate guy. He should fit well in maize and blue. He's established a good staff with guys like Howard Isley and obviously Phil Martelli. And look, this is a guy that's coached at the next level. He's coached in the NBA. He knows how to scout talent. He knows where to place talent. And it should be a fun duo with Xavier Simpson and John Teske. I know in that offense they want a lot more post-ups with Teske, get him out in the front court, and we'll see. We know defensively Michigan's going to be good. Can they get a step up from the bench? Guys like Eli Brooks and Colin Castleton. Can Franz Wagner take the next step? Can Isaiah Livers develop an offensive game? There's a lot of question marks to Michigan, but I'll tell you right now, if they can figure those question marks out, look out. We know this defense is going to be legit. It's an interesting year for Purdue as well. They have to obviously say goodbye to Carson Edwards, who was one of the more dynamic players in the country last year. And this is a team that could have went to the national title game. They were just a shot away in that game. It's an interesting team this year. Obviously, Aaron Wheeler's a terrific player. They have some bigs that you have to feel excited about. But I'll tell you that the signing, one of the big transfers of the summer was Jihad Proctor coming to Purdue. Jihad Proctor is not Carson Edwards, but I'll tell you what, I think he could fill in pretty admirably. He was a really good guard at High Point, Jihad Proctor. He could put 20 on you any day of the week. This is another team in the Big Ten that plays unbelievable defense. Iowa, they're always the same team. They score a lot, but can't get stops when it matters most. A real interesting team is Illinois. I think this team has all the pieces to figure it out. But I'll tell you who they remind me of. They remind me a lot of Nebraska last year. Nebraska had a lot of talent on paper. They looked like the it team. They looked like the up-and-comer. But at the end of the day, they just didn't have a coach that was ready to take them to the next level, and they ended up firing Tim Miles. Listen, the cupboard is starting to get bare for Brad Underwood. At some point, you have to start putting up or shutting up. And look, this is the team to do it. You have an NBA talent in Ayo Dosunmu. You have guys in Trent Frazier, Andres Feliz, Kofi Cockburn, Georgia Benashvili. There's a lot of talent here on this team. And you're going to have a team that should get to the NCAA tournament. Again, it's really time to put up or shut up for Brad Underwood. This is his best team in Champaign in a long time. The bottom of this conference, I don't see a ton. Minnesota is always interesting, but I'm not a big Richard Pitino guy. They do have a point guard now. They have some really nice pieces there. Gabe Kelscher, Daniel Turu, Peyton Willis. This is a pretty good Minnesota team. But again, another team that unfortunately is held back by an imbecile head coach. I know the football team stinks, but Rutgers basketball might take a big step forward. They've been a really gritty, gutsy team, and Steve Pikiell's done a nice job at putting some talent up in Piscataway. You look at Geo Baker is back, the junior guard out of Derry, New Hampshire. He's been a real nice catalyst to this team. And I'll tell you, an underrated transfer was Akwasi Yeboah. If you know anything about Akwasi Yeboah, he was actually at Stony Brook. He was a terrific player up in that conference. Did a real good job for Stony Brook. Obviously, Ron Harper Jr., Jacob Young comes in as well. Steve Pikiell's got a pretty talented team down there in Piscataway. We'll see if they could take the next step up and finally find out a way to score to go along with that defense. This team just seems to look like a team that is going to win a lot of games in the 60s. But for me, look, it's all about Michigan State. There's just not another team better than them. If I had to go with a sleeper, I'd sure the hell look at Michigan. They always find a way to compete. They always try to find a way to look legit. And defensively, they're on another level. Simpson and Teskey are going to be fun to watch. I'm the Big Man on Campus. As always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. And make sure you check out all the videos I'm doing here. I got some up for today. I got Big West. I got the Colonial. I got the Big Sky. I got the Big Ten. I got all sorts of conferences up already. Make sure you're checking them out. As always, make sure if you're new around here, you subscribe so you never miss a video. We'll see you next time.